Hello and welcome to September Magic's YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you my bullet journal setup for the month of March. For this setup, I wanted to draw some mushroom fairy doors and do a contrast between some black and white sketches and colored drawings. Before we start, I want to show you the materials that I've used. I'm using an Archer and Olive dot grid journal, and I'm using a 0.5 tip Micron pen to do all my sketches. And I also use a Pilot G2 gel pen to write in my journal. Besides this, I have used my Tombow brush pens and Crayola Supertips. These are great to do some quick coloring, and some Winsor & Newton watercolors for all the big parts that I want to be colored. I also missed to show you, I have used some metallic watercolors that I found on Amazon. So that's it. That's all I'm using for my bullet journal setup this month. To start my cover page, I made some faint pencil sketches. I try to keep them a little dark so that you can see what I've done. So on the right side of my page, I have a circular fairy door, a wooden door surrounded by some stones, and then there are mushrooms growing around it. And on the right side, I have two mushrooms with doors on at their base. So that is basically it, and behind the entire scene I have these little tree-like structures going, which I will be keeping black and white. So that's the whole theme that I am doing for this month of March. That is painting in some of the drawings on the page, and then just drawing these tree-like structures using my Micron pen. I have also used some brown and orangey brown kind of colors, along with sage green and light peach pink to color all my spreads so those are the only few colors that I'll be alternating between for this entire setup. For the painting, all I'm doing is I am trying to block in some light color first and then go around the edges with some darker paint. That way it gives the whole painting some depth and dimension. It looks as if there is some shadow and light effect on everything that I'm drawing here. So even though you don't understand the light and shadow aspect of painting, you can use this method to bring in some kind of depth to your drawings. So basically all you do is block in some light colors first, go light and then go darker and then darker, and finally use the darkest color. And also try painting the objects that are overlapping each other, the edges of the objects overlapping each other, darker than the rest. So for example, there are these stones, and wherever the two stones meet, I make them dark. And wherever the stones meet the door, the stones on the door, I try to paint them dark too. So basically, wherever there is an overlap, just make those areas a little darker than the rest. And wherever you see a bump in a structure, you make them light, like the top of the stones on the base of the door. I hope I'm making sense, but that's all I do. I don't put a lot of thought into my bullet journaling, and that's why I end up making a lot of mistakes sometimes. Sometimes I count wrong, sometimes I just put in extra boxes where they are not needed, and I don't realize it for a very long time. And then when I'm done with most of my pages, I have to go back and fix them. So yeah, if you are somebody who makes a lot of mistakes when bullet journaling, my videos are perfect for you, because you'll see me fixing those mistakes every now and then. And believe me, I tried to be very careful in this setup, but still ended up making a lot of mistakes, and I will show you how. And they're not small mistakes, mind you. let me take a moment to tell you how much I've missed you, because I have not been posting a lot of videos. I think it has almost been a year since I posted or I started posting again. The thing is, as you may have heard in some of my videos, I was moving from one place to another, and it was a big move. In fact, I've been moving a lot since like 2018 to 2021. I've just been moving a lot. So finally now I am in Austin, Texas. I love the place, and I set up my home here, as well as my online business, which took me a lot of time making the inventory and getting everything on track again. If you are ever interested in what I do, you can check out my Etsy shop. The link will be in the description below. I make hand painted wine glasses, I paint on canvases, I make some stationery as in notebooks, stickers and things like that. If you're interested, I can put some YouTube shorts of me painting on my glasses. It won't be a tutorial, but you can see they're quite interesting to watch. I post a lot of videos on my Instagram page, so if you want to check those out every day, you can follow them or not. I will not push you to follow me, but while I was doing all this, I realized how much a bullet journal meant to me. And to be honest, I bullet journaled for a year and then stopped, and then started again after a year. And I can say that I understand bullet journaling a little better now. I'm not saying I understand the technique of bullet journaling, but I'm saying I understand why I need to bullet journal now more than ever, because I realized that what do I actually need a bullet journal for? When I started bullet journaling, it was more of an artistic release. I wanted to draw a lot, challenge myself to make these trackers and make them interesting, and stick to a theme and see what I can come up with. But now that I've done all that and explored all that, I realize what I actually need my bullet journal for. What I use my bullet journal is not to plan every day, but to note down what has happened every day. So I like to plan the week, not the day. So from now on, I will be carving out a chunk just in my bullet journal just to put my week planning, and just cross it off every time I am done working on them, and then use the weekly spreads just to write down what I did on that particular day. So how does it help me? Basically, what I do is, at present I'm on a keto journey. I had put on a lot of weight and I wanted to lose some, so I decided to go on a keto journey. And I'm also pairing my keto with intermittent fasting, so I make sure to write down every little thing that I had during a particular day, and then I also write down my weight, just to see how much change has happened. So I also write down the timing of when I started and when I ended it. So all these things, little things, they help me. And I also jot down any noteworthy events that had taken place. If I had made a major purchase on a particular day, if I have spent a lot of money on a particular day, I just write that down in those columns. That way I have a note of when I bought something, and so that I know how long it stayed with me and how much I spent on it and things like that. So yeah, so this is what I think I'm going to use my bullet journal for, to keep a track of my daily events and to plan my week. I would say, whenever you do, if you are new at bullet journaling, explore everything that you can. Make all kind of spreads that you see online, just to make sure what you need, just to come to a conclusion whether you need it or not. Because unless you try it, you're not going to know whether it's going to help you or not. Because I tried using habit trackers for a very long time and I liked it, but after a while I realized that I don't actually track my habit that often using the tracker. So now what I do is, the only habit that I want to track is my workout. So what I do is I put a little sticker on the days I work out. That way it turns into a habit tracker as well as a weekly spread, so I don't have to make a tracker separately. But I do get tempted every now and then to create habit trackers because they are so much fun to make. Now coming back to the cover page, let me explain a bit what I did. I painted all my drawings with watercolor. I added some highlights with my Crayola Supertips and brush pens, added outlines to it with my Micron pen, and I also drew little strokes and dashes and lines in all the black and white drawing as well as the color drawings that I made. That gives it quite a comic book kind of a look, makes it look very finished and artistic. So outlining with a black pen is something that's amazing, and I think you should definitely do that to your drawings. I also decided to write a quote on the left page, so I've left a little rectangular box. I found this very cute quote, so I wanted to add this to my spread. It says, "Stay close to people who feel like sunshine." I also added some gold accents to my door using my metallic watercolors. Now the next page is going to be my monthly calendar. So in the monthly calendar, I jot down events that are going to happen in that month. For the background, I just drew a mushroom fairy door, a structure with a little houses sticking out of the mushroom. You will see it clearer when I outline it, and it looks really cute. And this is also something I saw on Pinterest. I wanted to make something similar to that, so I tried giving it my own twist. And just continuing with the same color scheme, the brown, the orange, and some sage green and pink here and there. I have tried coloring my pages using markers, using a lot of different things, but to be honest, I love painting in my drawings using watercolor and then giving them some accent using markers and my Micron pen. It just gives it a very nice look. We all have a very busy life, and it's hardly not practical spending hours and hours just setting up your bullet journal. And that was one of the reasons I gave up on my bullet journaling, because it was becoming too time consuming and I was not getting the time to use my bullet journal so much. I felt that I was putting in all this effort and I was not actually making use of all that effort that I've put in, so it was as if I was wasting time that I did not have in the first place. So now I am going to do smarter spreads which take me less time. So this particular technique of painting in is saving me a lot of time, actually, or saved me a lot of time. February and March, they both took me around 3 hours to complete, and they still look very decorative and very artistic, only because I use watercolors to to block the major part of the drawings or the page, and then just go over it with a darker shade of marker, and then at the end just give it a finishing touch with my black Micron pen. So basically I just paint in some shades of shades with the watercolor. For example, the top of the mushroom, I just put in some orangey light brown colors with some dark brown color on the edge, and then just went over it with even darker brown marker, and then added some accents and details using my Micron 05 tip pen. I've used a lot of different tipped pens. I used to use multiple tips like 08, 05, 01 tip, just to give variation in the thickness of the lines. But now I realize a 05 is enough. You can use it just once to give it a light line or light thickness, and then go over it again to give it some thickness. I don't know if you saw this, but here is my first mistake. I only added some 29 or 28 squares. I don't know what I was looking at. I was looking at February, I think, but luckily the start date of the month was the same, the start date, but the end was quite messed up, and after coloring I could not add squares on top. So I fixed it, but only when I realized, which I'll show you later, because it's not just happened yet. I am still oblivious to the fact that I've made such a big blunder. Now for the weekly spreads, the first page is just a simple layout because the first week of the month of March has 4 days. I made 4 small squares, and then I put some mushrooms at the bottom, just mushrooms, no doors this time. The reason I use a combination theme every time is so that I can alternate between the themes. So here on some pages I make the mushrooms, only the mushrooms, and on some I make the doors, on some I make the mushrooms with doors, and things like that. It just keeps it more interesting, keeps me more interested in painting and going on with the theme. You can use a ruler to draw the lines in your bullet journal, but I like to keep them a little natural. For that, I just pull the lines towards me, so I keep turning my book and pull the lines towards me and not away from me, if you understand what I'm saying. It just makes it easier to draw straight lines. And then I'm going over the mushroom drawings with my Micron pen, and I'm going to add some details to it with my midliner, and also with the Micron pen again I'm going to draw some dashes and lines, and just to give it more depth. I also added a quote to it which says, "Happiness is an inside job." I love happiness related quote. I am quite obsessed with laughter and happiness. It's a rule in my house that every day there should be some laughter and some joy. Otherwise, it's not a day well lived. So we watch something happy that makes us laugh or smile, or we make sure we do something to make each other laugh. So yeah, so you will see me always getting drawn to quotes which have something to do with positivity or happiness or something like that. Oh, this is when I started writing the days of the month, and I realized, oops, I did not make enough squares. So what I did was I took another scrap of paper from the back of my journal, and I added the 3 squares that were missing, and I cut them up and rounded one of the edges, or the edges on one side, and stuck it to make a little flap over the left page, and then made a little section for notes at the back. I thought it was a clever idea, and I think I can use that little space because I do end up wanting some space to write down something or the other I did not leave space for. So I don't think this was a bad thing after all. And then I come back and I start writing in the days. On the right side of the page, I have like a double square layout, and I just alternate the colors. I'm using this orangey brown kind of color, and then a light pink and sage green as my colors for the page. I also make sure that if I have something green on the left, I have something green on the right page too. It's a nice visual thing. Someone had told me about that you should have colors spread out and not just clustered in one corner. I think the same rule applies for paintings, for home decor and things like that. I try to make them in a triangle, as in I try to put colors. If something is in the top, I would like to repeat it at the bottom and on the other side at the bottom, or something like that, just to form a little triangle. So I think those pages are the most beautiful ones. For the next weekly page, I just drew some 6 rectangles, rounded rectangles, and just drew the tree-like structure in black and white behind it, and just colored the top of the rectangles to write the name of the day. that's it. That's all I'm going to do for this spread. It's quick, it's easy, it looks nice, and it's not that you have to draw something on every page. You can just use some elements and get away with it, I think. You'll see me making some mistakes when drawing my lines. I used my white gel pen to cover them, like my white Uniball pen. It does a very good job covering my mistakes. As I said, pull the line towards you. That makes drawing straight lines so much easy. And for the last weekly layout, my camera stopped, and so I could not show you how to draw that mushroom, but it's nothing new. It's how I drew all the mushrooms on the first few pages. I did again some rounded rectangles for the last 4 days of the week, and I also did another page on my right, which is my expense pages. I'm trying to jot down all the expenses I make for my business, so that when I have to file the taxes, it's easier, and I can just make a list using the list in my bullet journal. So I have not yet been very punctual about putting down my expenses, but I am trying, and I'm seeing some improvement, and I will improve. I finished it up with some tree-like sketches. This time I brought some of them in front. I wanted to write the title on a board or something hanging from the branches of the trees, so for that matter I brought the trees in front this time, and then drew a little box with all the with sections for the description, the source from where I'm buying something, the price before tax and after tax. That's it. And just to make it more colorful and interesting, I just used my Crayola Supertips, the lightest color that I had, the pink one, to draw some lines throughout that section. It is a very, very easy and nice way to add some color. So that is it for my monthly setup for the month of March. Thank you so much for sticking by me and following my page, even though I wasn't posting anything. I'm trying to be better at recording and editing and bringing the content out to you. Meanwhile, I'll also post some YouTube shorts on the other things that I do for my business. It won't be a tutorial, but it will be something that would be relaxing to watch. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this setup. Until I see you next time, happy journaling and have a good day.